Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.
What's happening, Abuja show? So don't ask me, where is Todo? He was on earlier today. And then you have to do Oswat and Debs on the Sunny Side show that just wrapped up beautifully. Well, this is where you welcome Kimberly Nwachukwu. Just call me Kim, the Oracle, the digital Oracle that is. Fellow OTF Madam Speaker, and I'll say yes to all of them. I hope you had a pleasant weekend, enough time to rest, relax, and unwind so that you're invigorated for the week. You know, Niger, you need your energy to go through this country. I just feel like God created us specially to withstand setting shocks that comes with being Nigerians. And that's what makes us truly unique. Because one, there is no cash in circulation. I wonder why. Because the Supreme Court has said, ensure that the old Naira and the redesigned Naira are legal tender until the 31st of December, when the old Naira will be phased out permanently. What have you seen the old Naira note in circulation? I haven't. So what that? Hopefully we'll get to touch on that with our guest also. Not like he has all the answers, but we try to understand why we haven't seen surplus of it in circulation at the moment. And we'll be looking at the politics within the PDP as much as we'll look at the electoral process and what the concerns of the Labour Party are. All of these and more you find on the Roundtable. And my guest is comfortably seated. I'm really excited because this is the first time he's joining us on the Roundtable, and I know it most definitely will not be the last time we'd have him on the Roundtable. He's the Executive Director of the Authority newspaper. We have Mr. Chuks Akuna with us here. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Kimberly.
Delighted to have you on the Roundtable.
Maiden appearance.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so starting off with the first story, and this is taking us back to the February 25th election and the outcome of it, in which we've seen a number of the opposition protest against the entire process election, and more particularly Labour Party. I mean, with the PDP that came second. With Atiku Abubakar, I mean, we saw protest in which he even insisted that the protest will not end until the right thing is done. And we've seen the Labour Party also say we are going to occupy INEC offices until, they respond to the court order that gives them that permission to, look at how the reconfiguring is done and access also to the back end of their server, in which they're still wondering why that isn't done. And the presidential candidate of the Labour Party is particularly vexed with the process of the election because he's been saying, I don't have a problem with who you announced or who emerged, but I have a fundamental problem with the process. And at this point, a lot of people are saying, all right, is there any difference between if you're having a problem with the process, it automatically means the entire outcome of it is faulty? How do you see this? How do you perceive it, sir?
Yes, I think it's a matter of, thank you very much, it's a matter of semantics. It's like saying 6 and half a dozen. Mm-hmm. It's about the process, just like he's saying now. So that's why I think those who are underrating to be doing so at their own peril. Because, I'm a participant observer. I've been this victim twice. When I was chief press secretary to Dr. Chris Ngige, and when I also became SA Media to Andy Uba. So Peter Obi went to court. So when he went to court, people said he should participate in the 2000. He just go and as an incumbent and participate in the 2007 election. He said no. That he was going to pursue that to logical conclusion. So he didn't participate, but went to court. He lost at the court, then went to the Court of Appeal. He also lost. The court said that it was insane for him to ask for that. Then he went to Supreme Court. And I remember very, very well, about a week to my boss's swearing in as governor, Peter went to court, Supreme Court, to stop
The swearing in.
They are swearing. And the court said that what's their business, that they don't care, that they're not bothered about when or who's been sworn in. And then 17 days after that, were thrown out. So, Peter will be somebody, and the worst thing that happened to any human being is to underrate your adversary. If you underrate your adversary, you think you just go and you overrun your adversary, and only to get the shock of your life. So don't mind this peaceful man of P2B. Don't mind his feminine voice. He's a very steely person. He's a very strong person. He's very, very strong. He will pursue you to the end. And then there's this joke around social media where Dr. Chris Ngigi was said to have, quoted to have said,
I was the one who knew what I suffered.
Yes. I don't know who that is, but that's what Yorubas
But there's
call,
an element of truth.
So whether it's true or not, I think it's something the APC the president-elect and his running mate should take very, very seriously.
Well, going by the lineup of SANs that is coming from all camps, it shows that looking lineup to say, we believe that this opposition and whatever grounds with the electoral process has no substance whatsoever.
Yes, and I studied sociology, and one of my minor courses was political science. It's called legitimacy in government.
Okay.
You can General, right? He overthrew essentially General Muhammadu Buhari, and later remember himself president. But that didn't make him president. He called himself president. He didn't call himself head of state. He called himself military president.
Yeah.
So you can call your name, you can call yourself whatever you choose to, but deep down in your heart and in the minds of people, because you see, I keep telling people that perception is stronger than reality. Perception is often stronger than reality. That's why when you see your channel is your frequency is 95.1. If you did 51.9, you wouldn't get. So if you like, for those who study computer science, every digital switch is 1 and 0. 1 0 1 0 1 0.
It's binary.
Binary. Thank God. Happily you know that it's binary. So 1 and 0 makes the whole, because it's on, off and on switch. So 1 is on, 0 is off. So it's like that. So, but you come and you think that they're mere figures. They're not mere figures. I tell people, when you see a piece of cloth on a car, that's the president of a country. But you say this is a piece of cloth. No, in reality, it's a piece of cloth. But perception, you have to. That's what you call symbolic interactionism in sociology. You have to understand. You have to make meaning of your world. That's why when it's written no entry, you don't enter. When there's inscription no for authorized personnel only. You must make meaning of that. If you don't make meaning of that, you go to prison. High court, honk no, court in session, no noise. You come there and you play your horn, you go to prison. Or you allow your cell phone ring in court, you go to prison. So, you have reality, but you have perception. Yeah. And that's why, you see, I don't really envy the present Justice of the Supreme Court, because all eyes on them, and there's this perception that they're not above board. There's this general perception. I mean, I don't speak for. I speak for, and I'm sure I speak for.
I mean, the perception even grew with the start of this administration in 2015, with the badging on the homes of some of the judges.
No, aside that, and the way Justice Walter Onoyan was removed.
Yeah.
So you see, the way people say things are very, very important. That's why even in the criminal justice system, it's often said that it's not enough for justice to be dispensed. People must see. Must be seen. The perception, it's everything. So if people can't feel, it's like when you drive around, see police vehicles parked points of, perception. People say you're most likely gonna feel safe where you're close. So I'm not
to the height of the insecurity strategic security.
So confidence is not. It's I'm very sorry, because, and I think I've said it elsewhere. When I became chief press secretary, when I first got into Oka, I arrived in Oka on June 5th, 2003. That was about 6 days after Ngige was sworn in. And I didn't know, because I was in Abuja, I was working with this, I didn't actually know what happened. So when I got there, anyway, I went and I said, I'm chief press secretary to Ngige. And people said, which Ngige? That armed robber, So it was a very, so at some point I stopped talking about myself, I was so ashamed, and I'm sure many Nigerians feel that way, because you see, I might be wrong, I might be subjective, but I have yet to see anybody who claimed that he voted for the current. I might not have seen that.
Yeah, but there's about 8 million of them.
No, they are. But out of the 8 million, I've yet to see one person. I've yet to stumble on somebody. When I go to public places, I maybe for sake of mischief, I hail the particular candidate's name, and I see the kind of looks, stares, and very hostile looks, and it's not just in Abuja, it's not in Oman, it's not almost everywhere, and I don't know what's wrong, but I think something is definitely wrong somewhere, and the earlier that is addressed, because it's not, see, and I tell people, go on seized power, Chukwumanzogo seized power. Buhari seized power, Obasanjo seized power, Murtala seized power. So, there have been civilians who have seized power in some parts of the world. You understand? So that after all, the Gideon coup was financed by a civilian, great Oburu. So it's not enough to say that you are there, then people should go to court. People should be able to defend
certain process.
The process. And that's why you see Peter Obi is a very smart man. I read him today talking about that Tinubu is his friend. He wouldn't mind calling him father or uncle, but that wouldn't stop him from
challenging the process.
I think it's going to be a very, very long and torturous journey for all camps. Even if you remember, for those who don't know, Ngige and Obi are both members of the Catholic Church. So they even took the matter up to the Vatican.
Up to the church?
Yeah, up to the Vatican.
Okay.
That come, my friend, what's your problem? This man has won.
Just relax.
And this man is already there. What do you lose? He's even tarring the roads in Agula. And people will say it's not about him. That's about what he's going to tell people. And personally, Chukwuemeka, I have a moral burden, because my 9-year-old son, there are questions he's been asking, and I wish I had answers to those questions. So it's very, very important that we do this.
The big question is why, after all these years, we've not been able to get a process that is. We're not saying perfect, because even in other democracies, you find flaws in the election. But this one being so contentious to the point where people are saying, if only this result were uploaded as at Wendu,
because
it would have reduced all of this.
And that is it. I tell people, like when I was a child, there's this thing Igbo women do. When my mother would want to go out to visit somebody at night, most women, and especially southeastern part of Nigeria, they will go with a child that's of age, like 10, 9. So because you see, so they don't want talks wagging that this woman, we saw her, about 8 o'clock, we don't know where she was going to or coming
by
from.
Herself.
Yeah, by herself, you understand? So, it's very, perception, like I said, perception is, see, people say they don't care, what? It's a lie. No, everybody cares what people say. If you say you don't care what people say, wake up in the morning, have your bath, then go up naked and say you don't care what people say. Everybody, that's why.
All right, let's go on a quick break. We'll take it off from there.
You who's making you blush now? You say.
Breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Crossfire from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1. And I'm Femi D. Amede. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day in a way that is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. See, you have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and be engaged differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Human being.
This is Nigeria Info.
So we human beings are mirrors. So when we are aware,
Yeah.
you know, when you see and people smile at you, you know, if you wake up in the morning and everybody's frowning, you feel something's wrong with you. And so you go check, maybe you have, you know, something on your clothes or something, you know. So you see, why do we wear fragrances? We want to smell good.
nice,
We want to
yeah.
look good. So nobody should tell me that perception isn't important here. It's yeah, because you know I was saying about how my mother used to, you know, take me along even against my wish, you
Yeah.
know that. So and I didn't understand at the time that, you know, married women at night, if you had to leave your house, you have to go with somebody who and in Southeast particular, I know women don't tie single wrappers. You have to, you see, if a woman ties single wrapper, it's very suggestive. So she has to tie she has to tie the first wrapper, and then she has to tie the second wrapper, and then tie with a rope. It's very that's perception. That's the way they see it. So if you want to be a deviant, then you all the stairs you should be able to accommodate all the stairs and all the problem. So that said, here in this case, had INEC uploaded these results as promised, because I've gone to watch the video, the November last
25th.
video where the press conference where, and you see, I keep saying this, you see, our policymakers, our so-called leaders, are always quick to use the media to scapegoat the media. You know, they always, you know, if you listen again to what Professor Mahmoud Yakub said at that session, he was quick to blame the media. That section of the media, you know, suggested that they had cleared. And you see, it's true that I'll have to go and actually and see what news medium carried. That's what it of that and wasn't going to use, because if you see what November would need to write it in November, and then in February they go ahead not to use that. So whoever did that story, you know, was on point in his eye.
Until date, no explanation in terms of solid explanation has come from INEC.
Nobody said it's glitches. You can imagine we're in the studio live and there are glitches. Somebody must pay for it. You understand?
The nature of the glitch is also something that could either make it, you know, possible or not.
No. And you see, it's different. You see, this is what you spend. It's like Olympic Games. Every 4 years, presidential elections hold once every 4 years. So you had 4 years to prepare for something, for an event. Then that very day, you tell us that there are glitches and you didn't resign. No. I mean, come on. I mean, there's more to this than meets the eye. And like a colleague of mine, Lemmy, he was speaking this morning on it was Kindly Wonder or so, was speaking this one that Mahmoud Yakub should not resign. No, he shouldn't resign. He will stay there, finish it, and he will prove him, because you can collect close to about 360 billion. Do you know what 360 billion means? 360 billion. Then we're not talking about the support from foreign agencies, from foreign governments. So you want to tell me that you bought inferior equipment? You want to tell me, you know, because, you know, it's like security equipment. Nobody, you know, it's not done through tender. You know, you don't advertise this as well. So somebody's trying to play smart. Somebody's actually trying to play smart. And the earlier INEC comes up, the earlier INEC comes clean about what really happened on February 25th. Yeah? I mean, it's not. You see, the problem here is that we always in this part of the world, apologizing is
for
for misdemeanor, for mistakes, or for negligence. Let me put it, because the driver, the driver of the Lagos BRT bus that killed, is also apologizing. So, but you look in faces of 200 million Nigerians and tell us that you are not sorry, that you're right after you promised us. So, and that's why this is what feathers the nest of the trust deficit in Nigeria between citizens and those in public office. So when you tell us that we should go about our normal businesses, that all is well, we don't believe you.
All right. Well, coming from INEC itself, they're giving strong assurances that this is not going to repeat itself in the governorship election. God forbid that it does, because, you don't want the states involved in this to be dragging INEC all over the place. It'll be too much of a drag, actually. So they said, yes, the glitch happened, but they have like a backup now, hopefully watertight, enough to prevent because the part of the 25th was particularly curious because it was the presidential election. That was the difficult part to upload. That for the National Assembly pretty much didn't have any problem, except for that one. So hopefully...
And mind you, the same process, the same time.
Yeah.
The elections took place, the same ballot paper. So how National Assembly elections were able to be uploaded, and you see, like what you said about INEC telling us it's hogwash. I'm sorry to say that it's hogwash, because you see the most important election, the president, that's why he holds first. That's why the president election holds first, because it's the most important election. It's like the tractor of an articulated vehicle. You see, like the train is like the engine of a train of coaches. So if the engine head derails, of course, the coaches behind it don't derail. So the process, because you see, there are 36 governors, and of course, not 36 states. We have about 6 states that elections will not be holding.
Yeah.
Kogi, Bayelsa, Anambra,
Ekiti.
States that have. Yeah. But you see, the most important election, the presidential election, that was the most important election. So, and I decided that was when to ruin the process after 4 years of planning and over about 400 billion naira, down the drain.
Yeah.
So people are asking, what? Okay, look at a state like Lagos. Lagos registered about 7 million persons, and less than 20% actually cast their ballot. So you want to tell me that people took the pains to go and register, got their PVCs only for 20%, less than 18% to go. Something is wrong somewhere. I listened to the INEC chairman. You see, when they posture all these figures, when they post all these figures, they do so because they want to. It's the number of registrants that determines how
much comes out. Yeah.
To INEC. So the more registration, the more money they get. And I saw INEC priding itself that about 19 million persons. They said more than 14.
93.4
yes,
registered, about 80 something million of them
than the population
collected.
Of 14 African countries, boasting, and at the end of the day, less than.
That's also another area to look at if we're interrogating all of this, because you also look at the number of, say, ballot paper printed and all that has gone into. Because I know, for example, I observed here in the federal capital where you went to some areas and they will tell you they did not have enough of the ballot paper. Yeah. And yet, if you look at the staggering figure in terms of what the number of people registered and how much you would have put out there, you start to really wonder in terms of the entire process beyond the IREV to saying there are little areas where we also need to micro-interrogate INEC as to...
No, I'll tell you what I think happened. You see, it's like... there's something they call supply and carry in companies. It happens in even government agencies where you're asked to print 100,000 copies of document.
Yeah.
Then you print 50,000. Then the difference you share with the storekeeper. I think that's what happened, because you see things like ink pad. I had very, very disturbing stories. Things like ink. So. Are we to believe that INEC did not vote money for these things? So what happened to the money? To the money is voted for these things, because who printed these papers? Who was supposed to supply this? How many were supplied? Who took possession of these supplies? Because you see, one thing is to budget for something, and then who accounts for those things? How many ballot papers were actually printed? How many ink pads were supplied? How many ink pads but delivered.
Exactly.
Instead. So these are things that, like you said, because you see, it's one thing not to upload those results. It's another thing not to even allow people to cast their ballot. Because you can disenfranchise people at the point of voting. Because if people, like someone, there's a man called, there's this very, I remember his name, lawyer in Port Harcourt. He used to be president. OCJ Okocha, he used to be NBA president.
Okay.
You know, he did an interview. Imagine he's in his late 60s or early 70s. He said, I think about 70s, he said he came to vote. They tried, they couldn't, the Beavers couldn't recognize him. So he went home. So imagine a man of that age coming to, you know, early morning sun, leaving everything else to come and vote. And then not just that, the humiliation. You know, when you come, you know, it's like something is wrong with you because this part of the world, we're very, very superstitious. You know, so, only no capture, you know, things like that. Then only for him to say later, he was told that there were the INEC officer hid another Beavers machine. That the Beavers machine was configured one was configured from A to O, so then another one from P to Z, and so on. So all this is were premeditated to undermine the process. Because the fewer the people that come out to vote, the easier it is for them to manipulate the figures. And that's exactly what they did. Because if you have large voter turnout, because you see, Tinubu, what's the figure again? 8 million?
Yeah, 8 point something million people, yeah.
So chances are that had more people voted, they would have upturned that, because that's the truth. Because it's statistics. Because if you stopped people from a particular place from voting, because we had Lagos alone had 7 point something million. So Lagos had almost the registered number of registered voters in Lagos were almost the votes the president-elect got. So, you know, it calls to question. I mean, it casts a huge shadow of doubt on the credibility of the exercise. And that's why I told you that less than 20 million, 25 million persons cannot determine the fate of,
apparently that's what we got with this.
That's it.
The process is still being challenged, and we'll get to see the outcome of it. Someone here on Facebook seemed to think, don't undermine, your guest speaks so eloquently about the strategy of Peter Obi, but Tinubu is also known to be a master strategist, and at this point they'll put all they have in the work to ensure that the mandate is not taken back. Nobody wants to take a certificate of return and then return it back.
Of course. No, I like, the guy is a very brilliant person. Is it like, there was this trending video about the president-elect where he was captured telling people that political power is not served a la carte in a restaurant. That you have to take it by force. So I think people underestimated the stakes. The stakes are very high. You know, president and commander of the strongest black nation on earth. You think it's a tea party? You know, we're living witnesses to the. By God's grace, we're living witnesses to legal fireworks. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to follow.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yes. If you're just joining us, we're live on YouTube at Nigeria Info, at YouTube, and Facebook at Nigeria Info ABJ. Also, the stories we're reviewing are on YouTube and Facebook, and you can leave your thoughts there. Joe Ike Newman says, I can't trust the INEC chairman. They failed and betrayed the trust of Nigerians. The gubernatorial election has long been decided by a certain few. AK Haruna says, INEC has always been not the very best umpire in the history of Nigeria election, no doubt. If we see all we're seeing, God help Nigeria. Well, his opinion there. And meanwhile, how come you're looking like Lauren Hill? All right. I don't know how to respond to that. Let's see what we have on YouTube. Ibrahim Hajara, thank you very much for your message, always with us. Awuru Joshua, good afternoon, Kim and our guest. Nigerian citizens have no trust in the judiciary because of their track record of upturning judgment in favor of those who don't deserve such. Joshua. And Andrew Ogboro says, good afternoon, Kim and our guest. Mr. Chuksa Kuna is a strong, obedient. Okay. I respect him, but his views should be objective. All right. That is Andrew so far. What are part of the views do you want to counter? That's what we'll be looking at most importantly. All right. And let's see here. Moving to the next token of the phone lines. I see my phone lines buzzing in this cash wahala before we get to the phone lines. And this is the Anambra State Governor, Soludo, that the CBN has directed to pay out old and new note customers. In a statement today, Soludo said Godwin Emefiele, the CBN governor, confirmed the directive personally to him after meeting with the bank's committee over the weekend. The Supreme Court invalidated a redesign policy, validating implementation and delivering judgment instituted by 3 states of the Federation. 7-member panel of the Apex Court held that 200, 500, 1,000 naira note remains legal tender at the 1st 2023. And order, there's still uncertain status of things as the old notes being rejected by traders, even though some banks are dispensing them. And also report that some banks, even though dispensing, are refusing to accept having deposited the old notes, that is. And Soludo, speaking on the issue, said the CBN gave the directive at a meeting with the Bankers Committee on the 12th of March. And is still just a little baffled as to why, in spite of this, it isn't happening yet. Not still seeing enough of the 200, 500, and 1,000 resign. As I speak, it is still pretty difficult for Nigerians on cash in the country. Just between the time the Supreme Court gave the, you would expect that they see a few more of the money making direction, older redesign. But it's still pretty much the cash crunch we've been dealing with from the start of the year.
You see, I must confess that I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to say anymore, and I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah,
it's a problem. Somebody came to my house this morning and paid me 20,000 naira in cash.
I felt like 2 million.
Yeah, something. No, more than because I have something. I have a project somewhere, and the workers there, they're artisans, and they've stopped work. They said if I don't pay them cash, they don't have BVN, they don't have bank accounts, and all that. They down tools instead.
Wow.
For over a week, it's a problem. And I was able to get 5,000 from somebody on Friday, 50 naira notes, 5,000, very old notes. So you really let into to ask what really is going on. I don't seem to understand what's going on, because you see, I had thought that they said the policy was to prevent vote buying.
Yeah.
So of course people didn't buy votes. They went to buy some persons. They went to buy. I don't want to
allegedly.
Mention it. Yes. No, that's why I say some persons. Yeah. And then so we've gone past that. We've gone past elections.
But we haven't completely. We have the governorship.
No, we have. But from the way things are, people are beginning to doubt if this cash crunch is going to end even after this weekend's election, because it's defied logic. I have a senior citizen who's a retired general. He's been calling me every day as if I have answers to the question. So, and you ask yourself, what really is going on? I don't because never in the history of Nigeria have we experienced such, where people, and it's telling, because it's often said that when 2 elephants fight.
Yeah.
Whoever came with this policy, I don't know. I mean, the policy is now becoming an evil one, because you see,
But it sounded brilliant at the start of it.
Yeah, but
at some point, a lot of people bought into that narrative.
Yes, including me. I was misled into buying that. I was misled because we actually thought it was meant. But I think now it's meant to punish Nigerians. Because you see, the artisans, I was a mechanic this morning, and someone wanted to buy cola nuts, and of course, the cola. So, most people can't sell. People can't go to work. People can't basics. People don't know. How to, because imagine you bought a 200 naira bus or a cab 400 naira transfer. No. So just last Friday I boarded cabs, and what I did was I made sure the money came up. I beefed up, because I went 3 or 4 places so that, and even the man wouldn't trust me. The man had to ask me to go and pay into a POS, and then I had to give him the slip. He wouldn't even take, So it also calls to question the credibility of our financial system. There's no trust. There's trust deficit, political trust deficit. Then also economic trust deficit. People don't trust. Somebody sent me money since 3 days. I've yet to see the money. But for the fact that I trust that person, I wouldn't believe he did that. So these are the issues. I sent a particular hospital 100,000. last week, 2 weeks ago. They said they didn't see the money. I sent another one. And the 100,000, the second one had yet to be reversed. And then going to the bank to complain is another trouble. Because you see, you could go to banks, people are meant to spend. Crowd is there. So I don't know.
But how is it as a country that would be at a place, this juncture, where a Supreme Court would give an order and then there's a lot of dilly-dallying around it?
No, it shows you it's a process through which this will become Supreme Court, leaders of Supreme Court. That's why, you see, if you... Okay, let me put it this way. Those days, when we saw our teachers, we run to hide. We run and hide those days, because we're in the public school. But now, we give our children money to give the teachers in class. So, when children see their teachers, they say, hi, uncle, hi, They're not, you understand, there's no respect. It's what we call see finish. So there's what, the political class in Nigeria, they don't see our judicial officers, they don't see them finish. That's why they don't care. I also saw a story today, governors who went
But it shouldn't just be about see finish, it should be about the rule of law, certain procedure that we have spelled out.
You have rule of law and you have rule of law. So if people, and rule of law, you see, it's that's why you say if we undermine the systems, we will all become, we'll all be victims of the system. Because it should be as a court pleases. Whenever the Supreme Court, whenever even magistrate court, magistrates,
yeah.
when you they're not even seen in public, they're not heard in public. Then a situation where we saw a whole CGN of Nigeria, throwing banters with a governor, and controversy, of the 7 of the governor whom tomorrow might come before you for litigation.
Yeah.
You understand? So these are some of the issues. So it's if you undermine the system, and those who seem to from undermining the system, they all teams tomorrow. And because you talk about it's an ill wind that's not going to do anybody any good. And we're warning them. I saw a story today and I chuckled. The governors went to Supreme Court and who got judgment begging the AGF, Attorney General Federation and Emefiele, that they were giving them till Tuesday. So they even
to
scared.
Act on the directive.
Yes, act on what.
I actually saw it myself, and I was
I chuckled. I said, what's going on? And it shows you. I said, I thought these governors were almighty governors. So they also know that they are very powerful.
But is it the clash of the Titan situation we're seeing right now? Is it possible that we're getting that stand their ground because the governors took this case to court?
No, don't forget that the president
could be a face-off. Because some critics believe that this is what you take the president, the CBN to court, is a standoff, a Mexican face-off at this point in time.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Because, you see, the final arbiter in the land is, that's why people like Baron Le Montesquieu, people like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, it took hundreds of thousands of years for us to evolve, and come to this point where someone who's a Leviathan, the sovereign, doesn't have absolute powers because it's believed that absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. So it's okay. There should be. It's the you see the interface. The president gets sworn in by the CJN. Okay, the president is certain president nominates the CJN. The CJN is approved by the National Assembly. That's the way it works. So it's they're all interrelated, interwoven. Then the president, then if a president dies or something, the CJN, not even that, the CJN swears in another president, swears in a president.
Yeah.
Then if the president misbehaves, the National Assembly can also remove the president. You see the way it's interwoven. Then if there's a dispute between the National Assembly and the president, the court, they intervene. They wade in. So the way it's done, it's on paper. No arm should be stronger
than the other.
But because of the way we have designed our own kind of democracy, we have made it easy for the executive to undermine, to determine who becomes CJN, who becomes head of the judiciary, and who becomes head of the legislature.
Right.
So once they get that, they pocket them. So it becomes very easy for them to undermine. That's why we have a Supreme Court that's given a ruling on a matter, and today's Monday. They are begging, say, please, for God's sake, please. You understand? It should be automatic. It should be as a court pleases.
Instantly.
But sadly, we have.
It's not the case.
So that's the cost of stuff undermining the system. We're
All
paying
right.
for that.
We have a lot of people waiting. Let's hear some
Okay.
thoughts coming from the comment stories we've looked at so far. 0700 951 0000. Hello. Hello.
Honorable Minister of your mind.
Okay, your line isn't clear, so we'll drop the call. Please call back. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Kim, this is Hola, the Emefiele we're calling from the studio.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you see, let me post the words of exaltation your guest in the studio said about Peter Obi's and personality. I mean, his ability to stand firm in the face of justice, his ability to go all out. I mean, all hog to get what he wants. But let me remind your guest in the studio about the fact that the Nigeria of 2007 is not the Nigeria of 2023. You see, the level of indecency in our polity, in virtually every facet of our life today, is so nauseating, so disgusting that that if you think about it, one can just develop all sort of high blood pressure. Now we're talking about a country where the head of the Apex Bank threw his out into the ring some time ago. Trying to contest for the presidency of the country while still working as the head of the Apex Bank of the country, and nothing happened.
All right.
A country, let me quickly have this. A country where the Supreme Court gave judgment and everybody is just moving as if nothing is happening. And you want Peter Obi to get justice from that same system? I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's hear this caller. Hello.
Kimberly, can you hear me now?
It's still muffled, but go ahead. If it gets bad, we'll drop it. Sorry about that. You'd have to call back. Let's hear this caller who is waiting. Ebere Josevani says, I stand with Peter Obi. All I'm challenging is the process. Let everything be transparent. Mohammed Umar Farouk said, your guest said he hasn't seen anyone that said he voted for the APC. I did, and millions of us did. Tinubu's campaign is in all the 36 states and the FCT. All right, let's not make it like everyone voted for one party. All right, then. And James Bambuse says, good afternoon. Elder Bambuse, okay, good to know you're listening. Let's go on this very quick break and be back in a jiffy.
Do with my life. Exactly.
Hello, my name is Kimberly I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me